Hello, our brothers and sisters in Africa, in the diaspora. We are back with some wonderful news of the Africa we want in the future. And not just the future, even today.
Right now.
We are here to report an amazing story we saw in BBC, we saw on Twitter, people reporting about two Nigerian girls, high school or secondary school students, who have created an amazing invention. And they are calling this invention a bithermal distillation device. So in Africa we have problems, especially in crowded areas where the water is polluted. So these two girls, I think they are going by the name Elizabeth Korolo and Abdul Salam Ajara. And by the way, they have won an award, an international award called Stockholm Junior Water Prize, Nigeria. So these girls developed an invention where they are using sand, charcoal, and fiber to filter water. And when you have, for example, you have water that has sewage, it has the impurities, like the solids. Then it has maybe bacteria and all that. So if you drink that water, you get some infection. The water is contaminated. So by thermal water and distillation, so what they are doing is they first filter the water using sand and charcoal. Then they use distillation using the sun. So they have this thing that I think it has some like solar system, like glasses, which heats the water. Then when the water heats, it evaporates. Then they cool it back as to water, so it's clean, no impurities, no contamination. So let me read just a bit from a Nigerian newspaper calling itself Legit. Two Nigerian female students have won the Stockholm Junior Water Prize Nigeria for inventing a water purifying device called bithermal water distillation device. The award-winning innovation is designed to purify and recycle contaminated water into safe drinking water for people in riverine and rural areas. According to Siwi, the project was adjudged the best by the jury's panel because it can make potable water available to all and is cost-effective, economically viable, practicable, and scalable. Bithermal water distillation device uses the readily available solar energy in the tropics to purify water. So guys, I'm going to put that link on the description so you can go and read the whole story for yourself. But kudos to Elizabeth and Ajara, because this is the Africa we want. What do you think?
One thing, even before I comment on Elizabeth
and Ajara.
Elizabeth and Ajara, yes, I need to put both of them. So our African education system has been deemed useless by many, and seeing something great coming out from Africa, from kids who proudly are in the same education system that we are all complaining about, that has no benefit. It's like this guy was saying, I have never used algebra in my life. I have never used calculus in my life, So we have been bombarded with the history of, I don't know who, the parts of a rat. When you look at all of those things that we are being taught from a very tender age in our schools, to a point where in life, like right now, what we are doing has nothing to do with calculus. There's no benefit from the education system, and I'm just proud.
They say it's just wasting time, because if you look at China, young kids are learning how to code, and you can see how China is developed.
That's it.
But when you come to Africa, the same age, that kid in China is learning how to code. And that is the new one. In Africa, you find the same education system that the kid were taught, the same things that kids were taught in 1969. The parts of an insect is what they are learning today. So there hasn't been development in the field of education. We are not looking at the problems that we are facing as Africa, and now finding solutions through teaching young kids how to find the solution for these problems.
Exactly.
Like one of the problem is water.
Clean water.
Clean water, access to clean water. But now these girls have gone.
A step
And
way-
if you read that report, you find that this kid, they are talking about, they were motivated by what they saw in their village. There's no water, and they had to go some long distance to get clean water. There's water, but they cannot use that water, so they have to go to other place where they meet maybe bandits and all that.
Exactly.
They said boys. I don't know what's up with boys.
So, we have problems. These kids have dealt with so many problems that we have in Africa, not just clean water. We have medical problems like cholera, the outbreak of, diarrhea. We have what you call, malaria. So by this small invention, they have been able to do away with cholera.
Yeah.
Do away with so many things,
Yeah.
even getting clean water. Like what you're saying, they have to go, to some place. That is a waste of time because they are late for school. You find that they don't even have time for studying and for doing inventions like this because they have to travel to far places just to get a jerrycan of water. So kudos to these girls. If it's something that they've learned from school, I would like to congratulate the teachers, and their parents for encouraging them to continue to further their invention. And some parents, we have a problem in Africa, parents who think education, like the class system, is the only system to go. They have no eye for other inventions that our kids can do in trying to find solutions and getting money from that. So the parents of these girls also need to be congratulated because these girls took time to do this. It's not just something you do overnight.
And something to note is these girls are not the first one and they won't be the last one.
No.
Africans are brilliant.
Very.
And we can come up with brilliant ideas.
Solutions.
The problem comes when it reaches funding. You see this, they are using locally available. But imagine they need something, if you have to package this together so that when you pour water at the top, at the bottom it will come out, or if it's not at the bottom, maybe it's something where you put outside, you pour your water, you wait for some minutes, and out comes clean water, filtered, distilled. To have that packaging, you need some funding.
Exactly.
Our biggest problem in Africa is funding, and we have brilliant minds. For example, you find young Africans are coming up with ideas, inventions, but to get funding, they have to go look for another young European or American so that they can do this together, so that they can secure funding.
And at the end of the day, the project goes to the
other side.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do, we need to maybe borrow the models of the likes of China, where when you have some idea, the government comes in, funds you, and upscales it.
That's it.
Because if this can be upscaled in
whole of
Nigeria, they can create packages which can be sold to as far as South Africa. You see?
And Africa is that problem in most parts of the continent.
But we also need to come up, because if we wait for our governments, we will grow old waiting for that. We need to create avenues in which even our brothers and sisters who are watching us can invest in such inventions. If you see an invention and you think
it's worthy your money,
and you are an American, an African American, an African British, an African Brazilian, or an African who has some money, you can come and invest.
These are the kind of things that need to be upscaled.
Yeah, we grow our own. I think we need to just grow our own
instead of waiting for the government.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, Elizabeth and
Ajara.
Thank you so much for such a brilliant intervention. We hope that it will upscale to all over Africa and even to international markets without being infiltrated by the West.
And I'm seeing these girls being wonderful inventors who create big companies in the future.
That's what we need for Africa.
Kudos to Nigeria. Nigeria is doing a lot. Actually, there are a lot of even fintechs coming out of Nigeria.
They are
so it's Africa, even South Africa, even Kenya.
You mean they are boys or from
Nigeria? Come on. Yahoo boys are brilliant young men who have failed, who do not have ways of
just trying to get shortcuts.
So they know they can use their brilliance to create money.
Those are the minds and brains that we need to capture for such interventions and inventions.
But look at something like Andela. That guy is Nigerian who created Andela, and among other inventions that he has, and they are doing great. So,
alright guys, let us hear from you what you think about this. Have you seen an amazing invention from your community, your village, your country, you know, that needs to be upscaled? Maybe you can share. You never know who is.
Maybe we know about this because we read it in BBC.
Exactly.
But when you comment, you write what you know about in your country on our comment section. We'll look at it and we'll comment on it.
You never know who's also reading to see what kind of inventions they are willing to invest in. So guys, remember, we want to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of next week. So please, if you're watching this video, like, subscribe, comment, and share so that we can. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.